What's the most important thing to be a successful trader? Morning, everybody. This is the Trader's Mindchat show, and we will be talking about this most important topic today. What's the most important trait for being a successful trader? I saw this question pop up from my friends over at TraderLine. Shout out to you guys. What's the most important trait for being a successful trader? I want you to consider this question, type into the chat what you think. Well, tell us first, tell us what your answer is, and tell us what you think the most common answers might be. I thought about this question for quite a bit, and the thing that popped to me as the most common or the most important trait for a successful trader to have is this right here. Humility. I think that the most important thing that a trader needs to have is humility. I think that all other things tend to fall under that one umbrella. Let me know what you think, but that's where I'm at with this question here of what's the most important trait of being a successful trader. Some people said risk management, others said self-awareness. Patience is a big one, discipline, but I think that it all boils down to humility. And I don't say that lightly either, especially coming from the standpoint of some of the people that said some of the other answers on there. Some pretty big names in the space said some of these other answers. So, wrapped up in humility, and this is one of the reasons why I think that it's so important. If you're not humble, you're not coachable. If you're not humble, then it makes it very difficult to learn new things from the market, learn new things from our own post analysis. If we're not humble, then you could be put into a position where you've done a lot of work, a lot of research on a company, and you feel that you're right and the market is wrong. I've been in that boat many times. It hasn't worked out too well on on par. When we're humble, we can learn. When we're humble, we can adjust. When we're humble, we continue to do the things that got us to be successful in the first place. I've yet to meet a truly successful trader, someone that, by successful, I don't mean just having uh, a winning streak or even having a winning year, but someone that's put together multiple years of success. I've yet to meet somebody that has not been humble. Let me know your thoughts on this one. And that's not to say that the other qualities aren't important, but I think that humility is the one that I would put at the top of the list. Let's talk about each one of these because I think that they're all important to being a successful trader. And what do you notice about this list? One of the things that I notice about this list, we've got 5 things on here: risk management, self-awareness, patience, discipline, humility. The things that I notice about this is that they're all great virtues for life, right? That it's not where chart analysis is on here. It's not where fundamental analysis is on here. But everything here are things that you could take in other aspects of your life. If you're strong in any of these areas, you could take them and apply them to other areas of your life too. You could apply it to trading. Let's talk about discipline. Well, what is discipline? Discipline is doing the same thing over and over again, or doing what you need to do, even when you don't feel like doing it. That's discipline. If discipline, though, if if you add sometimes you could have discipline, and that's one of the things that people I think that people get confused with discipline. I think that when people think of discipline, a lot of people think about it in the way that I just described it, as doing the things that you know you're supposed to be doing and doing them even when it's hard. I think that discipline in its core is simply doing something consistently. Under that type of discipline, then I think that a lot of people are very disciplined. It's just that they're disciplined in the wrong things. A lot of people are very disciplined with hitting the snooze button. A lot of people are very disciplined with taking random trades, right? The idea comes from somewhere, put the trade on. A lot of people are very disciplined when it comes to just scrolling, right? Doing the scrolling on their phone all day. What we need is to be disciplined in the right things. How do we know what the right things are? To me, I think that part of being disciplined and knowing what the right things are comes back to humility, right? Because there's a part of humility that says that, okay, I know that I don't know, and I'm willing to accept that. If I'm not humble, then I wouldn't be willing to accept that. I would think I know better and I'm going to find it out. I don't need help. So I think that those things go hand in hand. Patience. Patience. Let's talk a little bit about patience. What kind of patience do you need? Well, we need to be patient with our systems. We need to be patient with our processes. We need to be patient with ourselves. What we don't need is patience with going in the wrong direction. I used to be in that boat. I used to be the person that would be facing east, waiting to see a sunset. Right? You're never going to see a sunset if you're facing east. Same way, if you're facing west, you're never going to see a sunrise. We need patience with the right strategies. We need discipline with being patient. And we need to be humble in order to understand and allow others to help us out and course correct. Now, TraderLine is putting on a fantastic conference right now. And I have not watched the latest ones yet. The reason why I know that's fantastic is because I saw the lineup and I've also seen the past conferences. So I'm sure that they're doing a fantastic job with this one. But one of the things that will take some humility for everybody, right? To go to others and start to learn. I want to go and watch those conferences to see, well, what else can I learn? There's plenty of great and very smart people on there. Some of them are my friends that I've heard speak many times, and I know that I could still learn more and more. Self-awareness. Self-awareness is a very important one. I wasn't planning on doing the reverse order here, but it looks like that's the way that we're going. So self-awareness. Self-awareness is self-awareness is critical. If we don't know what we don't know, then we how can we possibly move forward? Self-awareness is figuring out uh, where our faults are, where our strengths are, for that matter. How can we get better at self-awareness as traders? I think that the number one way that we could become better at self-awareness is through journaling. I actually talk about this quite a bit in my book, The Trading Mind Wheel. I have a whole chapter dedicated to journaling. I also have that self-awareness is a big part of the mindset chapter, and post-analysis, I think can get wrapped up in self-awareness too. All those things are bringing awareness. And if we are not self-aware, then we don't know where we're going wrong. We don't know where we're going astray. We don't have measurement tools, right? So what sort of measurement tools do you think that you need as a trader? I'll tell you some of the measurement tools that I have, right? In fact, rather than telling you, well, why don't I show you? Right? So here's a playbook, right? And there's a lot of different tabs on this thing. I'm in the process of streamlining this thing. This, by the way, is available to all of our research program members. And well, we have a free 2-week trial to our research program. If you're interested in that, just reach out. But if I come over here to my monthly tracker, and I zoom in on this, these are the stats that I want to track for myself, right? So what's my average gain per trade? What's my average loss? What's my win percentage? And I have this broken down by month and then the 6-month average. How many trades did I take for that period? What's my biggest gain? What's my biggest loss? All these things are telling me, well, letting me know where my numbers are at. And it's from here that I'm able to course correct. If I didn't know these numbers, I wouldn't know where I am. All I would have is my daily P&L. And if you're somebody that's sitting there staring at your daily P&L, you'll drive yourself nuts. And that used to be me too. You need a larger perspective. You need to be able to step back and view what your stats are, know what your stats are over a longer period of time. So that way you could not just see, am I improving, but you could also know if you are dramatically outperforming or dramatically underperforming. And then from there, you're able to make adjustments. One of the key stats that I added for myself just a couple of years ago was this column right here, the high watermark. The high watermark is the highest point that I get to while in a trade. And I find that it's a very important stat. And it's an important stat to track uh, in the most recent history. I'm talking within the last 3 trades that you've had, 3 to 10 trades. What this helps you to do is to see how far your most recent trades are running. Because when you think about it, the most recent trades that you're in, if they're doing well, that's telling you something very important about the current market environment. It's telling you that, hey, things are either working extremely well, they're working about on average, or they're barely working at all. So if you're tracking what your high watermark is, that'll let you dynamically adjust and let trades run further, help you reel things back in. So these are the stats that I like to track. And these stats help me quite a bit with self-awareness. They also help with the risk management aspect of it too. That's the uh, risk management is obviously very important. If you don't have risk management in your trading, then that's a thing that will cause you to either blow up at worst or at a minimum be a boom and buster, because there's risk management on both the downside and the upside. I used to be the person that would see my trades go up and up and up and up, and then I would see them come back down and down and down and down, and it's like, well, that was a fun ride. And that's what that's part of what risk management is. But if I wasn't journaling, right? If I would just have those trades and see those trades again and again and again and again, sure, I would be aware that I had a problem, but I wouldn't be able to track what the problem was. I wouldn't be able to go back and dissect it That's why keeping a journal is so important. And that's where the self awareness comes in. Then you need to be patient, right? Because sometimes you'll have a string of winners, sometimes you'll have a string of losers. And part of tracking your stats will help you know what's normal versus abnormal given your typical success rate. A while back, and I talk about this in the Trading Mind Wheel book as well, is understanding your stats and understanding that certain streaks are common given a certain win rate. For example, if you have a 50% win rate over the course of 100 trades, you are very likely to have a losing streak of 10. Between 8 and 10, you will most likely have a losing streak of 8 if your win rate is in the 50% ballpark. I didn't know that for a very long time. My co-partner in Marrow Wealth, my coaching partner, Stu, one of the things that he showed me was this stats table that he put together. And it made a lot of sense. I would sometimes see losing streaks of 7 or 8 in a row. I would sometimes see winning streaks of also 7, 8 in a row. And to know the type of streaks that are likely to happen given your win rate, it takes a lot of the stress out. It takes a lot of the emotion out, right? Because when things are going really well, it's easy to get excited. It's easy to start putting some more capital to work. It's easy to start to get a little bit lax with the rules because things are just firing on all cylinders. Toss the rule book out the window. I've got this. I must have turned the corner. And then what happens? Then what happens? I think you know what happens. What happens is you start giving back some of those gains, and then it's like, oh man, I did it again. How do I know all this? I've been there. I was there for a long, long time, and it's not something that I want to revisit. So much better to talk about it and try to keep that part ancient history. And the way that I can self correct is through the self awareness part that we just spoke about. Being patient with those streaks, being patient with the rules that we've set, being patient to do the journaling. Midnight over on YouTube. Thank you. Yeah. Let me know what other parts you think a successful trader needs. Go ahead, type into the chat. We've got a couple of people I see typing into the chat already. Thank you, Caleb. Thank you, Midnight. For everybody else, too, type into the chat. Let us know. Here's my little ticker thing to scroll across the bottom here. Leave a comment. Let us know that you are alive and well and kicking. But let us also know, what do you think the most important trait for a successful trader is? And let us know something that's not on this list here. And while you're at it, make sure that you like and subscribe to the channel. Those kinds of things help us blast more stuff out to everybody. All right, so patience, discipline. Spoke about all of this stuff here. So what's the most important part of being a successful trader? I think all of it. I think being a good person, right? If you have all these, if you have those 5, I think that you're a better human. Caleb, being honest with yourself is very important. Absolutely. Yeah, I think that if you're, and by the way, Caleb, that's an awesome picture. Yeah, so being honest with yourself, absolutely. I would put being honest with yourself in the self-awareness camp. Let's see. I've done the same thing of boom and bust because I stopped following rules when things go well. Yeah, you know, I'll mention it here, um, and I'll put your picture back up because I think it's such a great picture. Uh, I recently was talking about this with someone, and I'll mention it here, um, because I think that it's a very important lesson. So one of the things that I've been doing quite a bit lately is reading and studying the Bible. I'm working my way through the New Testament, and I'm also uh, doing this thing called Halo. Right there's an app called Halo, and they have a whole Bible in a year study program. That's been fantastic. Anyhow, my point with this and how this relates, so with the boom and bust cycle and stopping following rules when things are going well, had this conversation with somebody about this part of the Bible where Jesus is talking about how it would be more difficult for a rich man to get into heaven than for a camel to go through the eye of a needle, right? And so he's like, "Well, I don't want to be a great trader. Then I've got some great rich trader friends, and it's I've struggled with this one. What are your thoughts?" And so I shared my thoughts with him, and I think that Caleb, your comment directly relates to that. And here's the reason why. I think that the reason why it's difficult for a wealthy person to get into heaven, or uh, to yeah, yeah. Well, let's go there. I think that one of the reasons why is because when things are going well, we tend to not need God. Kind of be like, you know what, God, I'm good. I've got this now. Thank you. And then you tend to start not. You tend to stop doing the things that are good. Same thing in trading, right? Let's bring it back to trading. So things are going good. Don't need to follow the rules. Don't need to journal. I don't need to do this other stuff. This stuff got me here. So, you know what? I'm kind of good now. I don't need to verify if the trade that I'm looking at has all the qualities that I'm looking for. I'm good. I know what I'm doing now. I don't need to journal. I don't need to follow my morning routine. I don't need to do my evening trading prep. I don't need to check the market's health. I'm good now, right? I'm on this winning streak. I've got it down. The results are telling me I've got it down. To me, I think that uh, one of the reasons why, right? Like, yeah, to me that really makes sense of how when Jesus is saying that it's more difficult for a rich man to get into heaven than it is for the camel to get through the eye of the needle, has to do with being okay, not needing help when you're in that when you're comfortable. But when you're uncomfortable, that's when you're looking for help. That's when you're starting to go and seek guidance. That's when you are humble. We need humility. We need to keep ourselves humble. And the more that we're able to keep ourselves humble, the more that we can be successful in trading. I'll say this too. I don't think that being wealthy is a bad thing. I think that it's a wonderful thing. I think that being very wealthy, very rich is a wonderful thing. And not just being having physical health as being wealthy and spiritual wealth. I'm also talking about the green stuff, right? Cash. I think that being uh, financially wealthy is a very good thing for how you can go and use that money to help other people. I think that when you're able to give to the people that you want to give to, donate to the causes that you want to donate to, take care of the people that you want to take care of, I think that that's a wonderful and a beautiful thing. I think that being having abundance is a great thing. I didn't always think that way. Self awareness, very important. Go through what our beliefs have been and understand too that all that stuff is malleable, that we are not our beliefs, we are not our thoughts. We can choose to think, believe, and feel whatever we want. We have free will. So why not choose something that's going to help us grow, become better? Let's see. From from midnight. Oh, I like the I would, you know what, when I see the comments pop up, I see a little thumbnail, and it's not always easy to see, but well, when I click on it, I could see this little collection uh, of bears. That's very cute. Midnight. So Midnight says, following my rules. Once I go against them, everything goes haywire. Yeah, no, that's happened to me as well. And there's a famous quote from Ed Sakota. And let me see if I could search for it real quick and bring it up here if I still have it. I'm not sure if I have the image ready or if I've deleted it, but well, let's see if it's here. Ed Sakota. Oh, we might have a winner. No, that's not the one. Is this the one? No, I have two very good Ed Sakota quotes. Here, I'll share the ones with you that popped up. I've been posting some of these quotes lately. Been posting them over on Instagram and X and everything. But the quote that I'm thinking about from Ed aren't these. The ones that I'm thinking about are that there's 5 rules for trading. Um, and one of them has to do with risk management. One of them has to do with following the rules, but one of them also has to do with knowing when to break the rules. And I never understood that one, or I didn't understand that one for a very long time until maybe a few years back. I think that the time to break the rules is when we're doing our post analysis. Because if we have certain rules and we're following our rules, when it's time to evaluate the game, then it's time to say, okay, what's working, what's not working. Let's make adjustments. Right? Uh, so let's think of trading as a game. And it's a game where we design the rules of the game. So if we're going to break the rules, the time to break the rules is not while the game is in session, right? Then you have chaos. Then that leads to all sorts of problems. But after the game is over and where it's at night, where it's on the weekend, and doing a post analysis of all of our recent trades, let's say that it's at the end of the quarter and we're looking through our trades and it's like, okay, here's what's working well. Here's what didn't work out so well. Oh, I really screwed up on that one. Okay, well, what went wrong there? Oh, well, I followed this, and this rule. I didn't actually think of this one. All right, so maybe it's time now to implement a new rule. Maybe it's time to tweak that rule. And that would be how the proper way to go about following rules and breaking rules. Follow rules while the market is in session, break rules when the market is not in session, and break it with intention. Very, very good. Yeah, Caleb says God is keeping me humble. Yeah, he keeps me humble too. All right, it's now 1:30. That really flew by, didn't it? So let me know if you guys have any other comments or questions about anything at all. If you are on our free newsletter, we've been sending out the newsletter pretty close to every day, I'd say. Well, we put different things in there. We put uh, various educational pieces, little tidbits, whatever strikes me for that day. Sometimes I'll share some trade ideas in there. Over the weekend, I'll just share my trade ideas list. I don't put any analysis or anything like that. I go a lot deeper in our research program. But in the free newsletter, I'll give the list of, okay, here's what I see that's setting up. One of the ones that was setting up and just broke out today was this one here, TBBB. This one, BBB Foods. Apparently, it's like a Dollar Tree in Mexico. Was setting up very well, and the setup improved during the week, setting up in this cup and handle pattern. Broke out earlier today. I didn't take this trade, but it was on the radar. So if you guys were on the list, you would have seen this one. Had a pretty decent move earlier in the day. It ran about 6% from the breakout level. Would have been a decent spot to maybe lock in some gains. And now it's selling off a little bit. The only one that I have right now, right now, here's another one that blasted off today. INOD. This one was on the focus list yesterday. Huge move. And this is one where if you were on the ball, right, and this is one where perhaps I should have set an alert on, because sometimes you'll get crazy moves like this, right? So now we're getting a little bit into the technical analysis kind of stuff, but I think that this is a pretty good idea here. So when you see patterns forming, you see a pullback happening. I see this as a pullback on the daily time frame, right? Pulled back into the 21 period moving average. Yesterday, it dropped below the 21 period moving average, that purple line. It closed back above the line. Pretty strong move. So when we see that happening, a good thing to do is to see, well, what's the percent daily range of this thing? And if you come down here, I have this tool that just tells me every single day what's the percent daily range over the past 20 days. So as of yesterday, this thing moves about 7.5% per day. Oh, well, that's pretty volatile, right? This thing tends to move. Great. So when I go down to a 30-minute time frame, you could see, well, where's resistance? I think this is a pretty clear level of resistance right here. And then you could say, well, where is support? The reason why I didn't buy this one yesterday, and in hindsight, I probably should have set an alert on this one, was because the distance between where I would look to enter and below support, generally I like to place a stop loss below support. It would have been about 9%. To me, that's a lot. If I set an alert, what I could have done was say, okay, if price is breaking out right at the open, is there a higher level that I could get it that keep my stop at? And I may have been able to use yesterday's low, which was right over here, and that would have been 5%. Maybe I would have taken the trade. Maybe not. Probably not, because I have a house guest right now and I'm going to go hang out a little bit. But that's what I was thinking with that one. So anyhow, point is, ideas like this come in our free newsletter. So if you're not already on the newsletter, go hop on the newsletter, marrowwealth.com. It's scrolling down there. It's been scrolling down there while I was doing this whole ramble. So go get on to the free newsletter, marrowwealth.com/newsletter. All right. Any other comments before we call it a wrap? All right, so looks like that is it. So I want to say thank you all so much for being here today. It's always a pleasure, and I will see you back here again next week for another episode of the Traders Mindchat Show. Until then, have a wonderful rest of your weekend. Take care, much love, and God bless. Hey, thanks so much for sticking around to the end. If you're new here, hit the subscribe button down below and become a part of the Marrow Wealth community. And make sure that you check out some of the other videos on the channel. They're exactly what you need to see. And leave a comment down below. I read all of them. Leave a comment.